welcome back to the Pump is Full podcast, episode 2. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about Andrew Luck and his retirement, NFL divisions, and if we have time, college football. So to start out, what are y'all's initial thoughts to Andrew Luck retiring?
I thought Schefter's Twitter account was hacked at first when I saw the tweet.
That's what everyone was saying. They were like, no, there's no way this is real, checking it over.
Well, I know everyone said that, but I guess that makes the most sense because there's no way because he's in the prime of his career. Some of the Vegas books had him as the favorite to win the MVP, which is crazy.
Yeah, I think it's kind of honestly shitty that Schefter announced it that soon. I don't know if it was either he announced it then or whatnot, but apparently Andrew Luck reported that he wanted it to wait till Sunday, till after that.
He was going to tell them Sunday.
That shit leaked though, and Schefter was just doing his job, right? I think the Colts leaked it.
I agree with Will. I think Jim Irsay, the owner, leaked it.
Yeah, someone leaked it, and then Schefter had it.
The story was that Luck was on the sideline, before the game, pulled Irsay aside and was like, "I'm going to do this," and then they announced that Schefter tweeted that out. And the thing that surprised me, Hudson, it was a well written out tweet. It wasn't just Andrew Luck is retiring. It was a full tweet.
No.
I was like, how? If that was breaking to everybody, everyone would have been rushing to do it. Schefter's the only one who had the scoop.
Yeah, he had that shit ready.
Irsay probably.
Out.
I think probably told him.
I think
there
was somebody. One of the podcasts I listened to said that Irsay has given Schefter a ton of scoop in the past, and so everyone pretty much knows it's him who leaked it, which I don't. He's a crazy owner, anyways.
Yeah,
not a good look.
Well, especially.
He did give him the $25 million or whatever, his remaining money. He didn't make him give it back.
I saw that he got to keep his money.
Because they said that was one of the biggest things. When Calvin Johnson retired with the Lions, is why he hates them is because they made him give back the money he owed.
Well, it's really Jim Irsay's fault for not getting him an offensive line to protect him.
No, it's Ryan Grigson. It's their old GM.
Oh, was it?
He was trash.
He was the worst general manager in football, and he got lucky because Andrew Luck was that good. And when they took over from who was their coach after Dungy?
Caldwell,
yeah. That team, they had one really bad year when Peyton got hurt, but their roster was still decent. And so when Pagano and Grigson took over and got Luck, they made the playoffs that year because they were they had a pretty old but good lineup, and so they never fixed it, and so their O-line just became garbage, and that's why Luck had an injury on every part of his body he possibly could. It's because they never drafted O-line until the past couple of years.
And they got Quentin Nelson, who's probably a top already 5 guard.
I think he's the best guard.
Yeah.
I think he's the best guard in the NFL.
It really sucks. Well, you really know that Luck didn't want to do. Did you see the interview with him where he was crying on the?
I felt so bad.
Yeah,
for him.
I know. He obviously didn't want to retire, but he just couldn't do it, which brings me to my next point that those Colts fans who booed him are actually such shitty fans because he obviously just did not want to give up the sport.
That's why you don't draft a smart quarterback.
Yeah. You draft Lamar Jackson.
Too smart for your own good.
That's why we have Jameis Winston.
I don't know. It really sucks. Also, Hudson sent me a tweet about that T.Y. Hilton was really sad. That got me kind of in my feels about him saying, "You're my best friend. I'm dedicating the season to you."
That's why you draft Ben when anytime he gets tackled, he just thinks his head is broken, but it's just he has a bruised ankle.
He
or
pops
something.
out. He's like, "Oh, I think
he doesn't even know what's wrong with him."
I remember watching him. What game was it? He was just
that game last year. It was he hurt his arm and he was limping off the field or something.
Y'all remember when you played the Bucs on Monday Night Football and Jason Pierre-Paul went for a sack and slapped Ben's helmet? And Ben flopped and got the roughing the passer. And that was at the beginning of the year when they called roughing the passer on everything.
What was the quote?
And he was smart. It worked.
What was the quote when they're what happened? He's like, I thought I died.
What?
They're just wait, what?
I love watching the Steelers because it's always dramatic. Either Antonio Brown would always be flailing around the field or Ben's limping around after every interception. They're just entertaining to watch.
Well, we have some of the best market ratings out there.
It's true.
We keep up the intensity. So I don't know. Is that all we got on Andrew Luck? I mean,
yeah.
I'd say I'm perfectly, or at least, what are your all's thoughts on his retirement? How you feel? I'm perfectly okay with him retiring. He got his money. He realized his body's done. So I'm pretty content with it.
I agree. I obviously don't think the fans should have booed him. I think they're trash, but I do understand why they would be upset just
Got
because
caught
like
up in the moment. Yeah.
they bought season tickets and NFL season tickets are a rip off, and it literally could not have come at a worse time. I do
Right
think
when
they
were
were
about to win the division. Honest, I think
I think they would have been like in the Final Four in the AFC. Like and Luck was the biggest part of that, but Brissett's not terrible. I think they're still going to be a playoff team.
I don't think they'll be that bad. I think they'll have a chance to still win that division.
they have like enough pieces where I think they could go on a run, but I definitely think
They better, because if they don't go on a run, they're screwed. Because Brissett's not bad enough to make you tank, but he also may not be good enough to where you're gonna go deep in the playoffs. So they might be in purgatory for. And then he's it's a contract year, so if he's decent this year, they're gonna have to extend him.
Well, I think with like one thing is like when he took over the last time he came before the Patriots, he got sent there 2 weeks before the season start, and they were like, "You're the starting quarterback." It's kind of a hard adjustment. So he's been there the whole offseason, being the backup. And Frank Reich was the coach in Philadelphia when like Foles had to take over for Wentz, which is kind of like the same situation. Just I mean, it's a little bit different because like it's not in the middle of the season, but like he's been able to like help his backup quarterback adjust into a starting quarterback and be successful.
And he has a lot of weapons. Like he's got a good O-line, good tight. Who's the
Ebron,
Jack Doyle,
Ebron and Doyle.
Ebron, yeah. And who they're running?
Marlon Mack.
It's Marlon Mack and something Hines. I can't remember his first.
McQueen.
I see everyone drafting him in fantasy. So
They're like, I think did they get somebody else? They have like a stable of like just like decent guys they have in their running back.
He'll be in a position to succeed. But I guess that moves on to our next point. So we're going to be breaking down NFL divisions, just who we think is going to kind of come out on top. So I guess let's start with the NFC North, Vikings, Packers, Bears, and Lions. What are y'all's thoughts on that?
I think the Packers win the division. I think the Bears get the wild card. But my hot take is the Vikings will be the worst team.
Ooh, that is a hot
Well,
take.
the thing is, the Lions last year, what'd they go, 5-11?
I think, yeah.
They've actually, like, they were bad last year. I don't know how they went 5-11. They're pretty much New England to Michigan now. Like, they have a bunch of Patriot players. They have.
I like Patricia.
I do too. I think he'll be a lot better. I think their offense is not as good as it used to be, but their defense is the Lions were one of those teams that they had Calvin Johnson, they had Golden Tate, all these guys, Marvin Jones. They'd put up 40 points a game, then they'd allow 50. And now their defense has actually gotten decent, but their offense has gone way down. So
they had one of their players get hurt. I think his name's Jared Davis. I haven't really kept up with him.
Oh yeah, he
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, they thought it was gonna be season ending, but he's only gonna be out for a few weeks somehow because it looked bad. Yeah, he's their linebacker. I think they'll be a 7-9. I don't think they're gonna be 6-10, 7-9. I think the Vikings are my surprise team to go just implode because I think if their window's already passing. This is their last chance, and I don't think they're gonna do anything.
I honestly think, even though Aaron Rodgers is obviously the best QB, and normally your team's only as good as your QB, I think the Bears are gonna still take away the division. Not run away with it. Their defense is just that good. Yeah, Khalil Mack, Eddie Jackson's a top 3 safety at this point. He's just all over the field. I think Akeem Nicks. It's just such a good defense. I think maybe Green Bay. I think Green Bay will probably still make the playoffs just because Aaron Rodgers is good and they finally have their offense. Really doesn't matter because he'll get the ball to anyone, and they have a decent run game, and their defense should be improved.
It's all young. It's literally just all 23-year-olds. So I mean, they may not be great this year, but they're gonna be good in the future.
Yeah. Will Hudson.
I think the Bears will end up winning the division. They had I'm looking at here right now. They had 36 takeaways on defense last year. The defense is nasty. I think Trubisky will progress a little bit. I still think he's kind of a game manager, but they have so many pieces around him with Montgomery. Everyone's super high on him.
Yeah, their run game I think is going to be pretty good too.
That was a good pick.
I think they'll be pretty solid. That's who I think is pretty good.
I'll go with the Bears as well. Fuck the Packers for getting rid of Randall Cobb.
Who
That's
did
that's
they
my
replace him with?
Geronimo Allison, Equinemius St. Brown, and some other dude with an equally ridiculous
They
name.
got a bunch
They
of
all sound a
randos.
lot worse.
Yeah.
than
Is Jimmy
Marcus.
Graham still there?
St. Balding or something like that.
Yeah,
All
they
those
have.
are not
I know
real
they have a
people.
white guy too, like the stereotypical Packers receiver. I'm
Oh.
pretty sure they have a young white guy too,
Yeah, just
like Kumaro or something.
they all just have ridiculous names.
They don't sound like
they're
real
all
people,
created
honestly.
Madden players.
Is Jimmy Graham still there?
yeah.
Is he?
Yeah,
I don't know.
He was bad last year, but apparently they're gonna try to actually use him this year.
He's
He was there
overrated.
last year.
Yeah, he's
Oh my
overrated.
God, that shows you how little I
He's
know.
overrated.
All right, next division. Let's go to the NFC West. So who's that? That's the
the
Cardinals,
Rams.
Seahawks, Niners.
Yeah.
49ers.
I think Seahawks are actually going to take away the division. I think Russell Wilson. He's finally got. I don't know if the O line's really improved that much, but just I think the run game's going to be solid. He's got a really good collection of deep threat receivers and Lockett and Metcalf, and their defense still is like. I don't think it's like obviously.
Did you
what
see
it
they
once
might
was.
get Clowney?
They're in talks
he,
for Clowney.
He wants Clowney said the two teams he
Oh, it
wants
was
to
the
go
Dolphins.
to.
And he gets to choose where he goes.
Yeah, he gets
basically.
pretty much choose, and he said the two teams that he would like prefer to go
Don't
to
they
are
have
Did
the
you guys
Se-
even know he
the
was holding
Seahawks
out?
and the Eagles.
What?
Did you guys even know he hadn't signed yet or anything? Like,
Clowney? No, I know he hadn't signed. But wait, do they have
I
a
hadn't
first and
heard it,
second
though.
from Kansas City for Frank Clark, right?
So they could get him.
Oh, never that. I think if they get Jadeveon Clowning, then I double down on my take that Seahawks are going to win it. I think Rams are still going to be solid. I don't know if they're. I could honestly see them maybe missing the
I'm out on the
playoffs.
Rams.
They went in hard last year.
Yeah, I know they
And
traded
they're-
everything.
Their roster is not. All their big money guys are like. They're a little bit old, and I don't. Their offense, like Robert Woods, is like their number one receiver.
No, it's Brandon Cooks. Yeah.
But like, that's not. I mean, the scheme gets him a lot of wins, but I don't know. I think Gurley. Who knows what's going on with him? I think I'm with you. I'd pick the Seahawks too,
Yeah.
but I think after going through two divisions, my hopes as a Bucks fan are already down because I think the Rams could make the playoffs very easily. I think they probably will. So I think there's two teams in this division who can make the playoffs.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about the Cardinals though. I think they're going to get
No.
another top 5 pick.
I got a little bit of a hot take for the West. I think the 49ers are going to end up
Oh,
winning that
that's a
division.
very hot take.
With a healthy Garoppolo. I know people have been a little sketchy about him in camp, but I think he fits Shanahan's scheme well. They get McKinnon back, and they signed D Ford and Quan Alexander to add them to that defense, which was already a pretty underrated defense last year. And then George Kittle might be the best tight end in the NFL. It's either him or Travis
He's definitely
Kelce.
the best young one. Yeah.
I think their receivers are a little sketchy. They're not necessarily
Dante Pettis. I think, is
Pettis. They
their
drafted
number one.
Samuel from South
it's a
Carolina.
bunch of like speed guys.
Yeah.
But I think that
Marquise
fits the
Goodwin.
Shanahan system. I think, kind of like you guys said, that division's kind of wide open because the Rams went all in last year. And then Seattle still has some question marks. So that's my hot take. I'm going to go with the 49ers.
The 49ers have the best D-line in football.
Who-
They
yeah.
have
Who is it?
Buckner.
Is Solomon
Um,
Thomas good? Is he even still on the team?
I mean, he's a top. He's on the team,
They just
but
have
he hasn't done
tons of
much yet. But
talent.
like, he has the talent. So they have him. They've drafted D-line. They have Eric Armstead. They've drafted so much. Bosa, D Ford. Like they are stacked if you look at them.
Now you're saying it. I didn't even know that. Like,
But
I
the th-
forgot Bosa, but
They're a team that gets just completely screwed by injuries every year. Like
Mhm.
Bosa's hurt right now. He's not gonna play the beginning of the year. Garoppolo towards ACL last year. Like I feel bad for them because they do have a lot of talent, but they cannot stay healthy. So until they do that,
That's a
I
good
can't
point.
pick
I think
them.
if they stay healthy, I think they're going to win the division.
I think they can be good. Yeah.
Well, you got anything?
I got Seattle. That's all I
Seattle.
got.
All right, let's move on to NFC East. Eagles, I think, are good. Like, just thinking about their lineup, they have a solid position group pretty much, like, everywhere on the field. And Carson Wentz, who's a, like, pretty strong quarterback. So,
You got to stay healthy, though.
yeah, he does have to stay healthy. But Eagles, they have a decent group of receivers. Apparently, PFF ranks them as the number 1 receiving core. I don't know how that's a thing.
With
but
who? Aguilar, Deshaun Jackson. I mean, they have a lot of good guys. They're not elite. Deshaun Jackson, I will go to my grave saying he sucks dick now. He is the most diva receiver of all time.
Who's their running back? It's Miles Sanders.
Miles,
yeah,
they have a couple.
he's gonna be good.
Who's the other one? I know they have someone who's technically the starter. I can't even think of his name right now.
I can't think of it.
Oh, it's fucking. What is his name?
Quick.
I can literally visualize him.
Siri, Google Eagles running backs.
I know Sproles came back, but
It's not.
Siri.
it's
This
Jordan
is-
Howard. It's Jordan Howard.
Oh, it is
Yeah,
Jordan
that's
Howard.
who it is.
why
Yeah,
I
yeah,
got it.
Yeah, because he was on the Bears.
He's pretty good.
They have a pretty good just power. Even
Mhm.
though their system's more of I feel like a zone running scheme. I think they'll be pretty good, and their just defense is pretty good too all around.
Who's their
especially
coach?
if they
What's their coach's name?
Doug Peterson.
You think he looks like Sam Perkins?
Yeah, he does. He does look
bigger
like
belly,
Sam Perkins.
bigger
Weird
belly
way.
Sam Perkins. Yeah.
I could picture him. I couldn't think of his name.
Man,
Yeah, I'd say that Redskins not looking too good. Haskins isn't starting. I don't know if you
he'll-
saw that.
He's not starting right now. They just announced Case Keenum. But
He
I
will.
think
He will eventually. I
Yeah.
think they're gonna be like.
he
we
looked
wanna
good in
sit him.
preseason.
Yeah.
Only way for them to win is if they start Colt McCoy. That's all I got.
Well, he has a broken leg. So
Yeah. He broke his leg.
I don't.
How insensitive of you.
Besides the Eagles, I don't think that division will be very good at all.
Cowboys, they have to work out their Zeke. Their linebackers, though, Jalen Smith, Leighton Vander Esch, and if Sean Lee's healthy, oh my God, they have easily the best linebacker core in the middle linebacker core in the NFL.
I think Sean Lee is old, but the other two, I agree.
They just pay. Jalen.
He got a really good contract.
Yeah, and he deserves it because he's that good. He didn't he tear his ACL.
Completely blew out his knee
It-
the last game of college.
Him
Yeah,
and
that was
Miles
cool,
Jack,
yeah.
they were from that same draft, and I
Yeah.
remember them and Jacksonville took chances on him, and it definitely paid off.
I will say with the Redskins, I don't expect them to be good either, but they have to be if Gruden and their general manager want to keep their jobs, because this is year 5 or 6 for Jay Gruden.
You see, they're looking to trade Josh Doxson.
Yeah, I did see. I saw
Even
that
where-
right before he
What
started.
could you
this.
get for him? I don't think
He
he's
led
that
the
good.
team in receptions
Yeah,
last year, which
they're-
I didn't
they're just
know.
like-
Within a lot of good receivers on the
Yeah.
team
I
to
know, but
compete.
still.
Their whole roster, their defense, they have a bunch of Alabama guys.
Hudson, will you look
Which-
up if Jordan Reed was injured last season?
I already know off the top of my head. He definitely was injured at some point last
They just
season.
have a bunch. They don't have any stars. They're just a bunch of solid people. But
Well, they're losing their best player.
Josh Norman, who hasn't done shit there.
Trent Williams is about to
Yeah,
be
he's about to-
piecing out of
Spencer,
there.
you should write all of our picks down.
No. I'm not writing them down this time. It's not worth because this is all more just individual take, not a collective
Yeah.
thing.
But
I learned my lesson
who are
last
the-
last week.
look at
If the Redskins were smart, they would just, I don't know if Houston would agree, but just try to straight up trade Clowney for Trent Williams.
I'd like.
well, I watched. Who did they played? They played the Jaguars, I think.
The Texans or the Redskins?
The Redskins.
They played the Falcons last
The
week.
Falcons. That's who it was. And I watched their first few drives, and Montez Sweat is actually super good.
The dude
He-
from Mississippi
he's-
State.
Yeah, they drafted him at 26, and I watched, and he got to Matt Ryan 3 times.
They have some I don't think they're going to be very good, but they have some
I think they're
solid
just
pieces on
stuck.
defense.
I think they're a 6-10 team.
Yeah.
And they can't, or 7-9. They just can't
I feel like they're offensively just challenged, but defensively they have some players.
Quick interjection. Jordan Reed was injured for 3 games last season.
Yeah.
Also, the only good thing about the Redskins is that they won't be the worst team in that division because the New York Giants will be the worst team. Saquon is, I think, honestly the best running back in the NFL. But aside from that, I don't think they have a lot going for them. Other than Daniel Jones's
They
incredible
shouldn't play
preseason.
him. They should not play him this year.
He's
let-
oh yeah.
Don't throw him into it because he has looked really good, but they're gonna screw him up if they throw him into this garbage.
Get him a couple. They upgraded their line a bit with the trade with Cleveland. That's when they got rid of
Vernon.
Olivier, for Kevin Zeitler. I think it's the right guard.
Yeah, I think they need to sit Daniel Jones because they are going to be. I don't think they're going to be the number 1 pick bad, but they're going to be pretty bad.
Right. So next NFC South, another fall from grace. I think Falcons win that division because it's their Hold on, Zach. I saw your face. My reasoning is it's their season to go hot. They had their cold season last season, and now it's their season to go hot. Don't know. I think the Saints will still be good. Who's also another team that could get the wild card spot, but Falcons are finally going to be healthy, and like I said, they already had. Where'd they go last season, Hudson?
Last season?
Yeah,
7-9.
7-9. All right,
Yeah.
it's time for them to go 11-5 this season.
Dan Quinn's taking over defensive play calling again.
Yeah, I do think that's a good move. I do think that's going to help them a lot.
I don't know how I feel about I think they're going to win the division. I mean, I'm kind of biased, but I don't see the Dirk Cutter coming back can either be. I think it could either be good because him and Matt Ryan, they've worked together before, or it could be bad. But
Zach's glad that the Falcons have Dirk Cutter.
he is.
Zach's more familiar with Dirk Cutter than I am.
He is. He was. I just remember like the year Lovie Smith took over. We played the Falcons on Monday. I think it was Thursday Night Football.
I remember that game.
And it was
Color
literally
Rush.
the score at one point going into the fourth quarter was like 56-0. And Dirk Cutter and Mike Smith, who were terrible in Tampa, they put 56 points on us, and like it wasn't even like we it was the most brutal football game ever. And knowing Dirk Cutter did that to him is just even worse because that man. With Matt Ryan, it'll probably be better. I do think because Jameis is not a deep ball quarterback and Matt Ryan is, but that's all his offense is. Just, I mean, he has Julio Jones too, but we had Mike Evans and it didn't really help. But in this division,
I think the division's still going to be like super
the
competitive.
thing is with the NFC South is it's always competitive. Like even last year, the last 2 years when the Bucs been 5-11, like
Tampa
we
gives
lost.
people,
We lost to the Falcons last year on a last-second field goal,
beat the
and
Saints first game, right? In a
we did.
shootout.
We
Yeah.
almost beat them in the second too. But the Falcons, Deshaun Jackson fumbled a lateral that we would have won the game on a last-second miracle play against the Falcons. Panthers, we beat. No, we didn't beat them.
They had they
We
went
lost.
6-0. And
No,
lost
we
all
did beat them
their
once.
games.
But the thing is with the NFC South, it's completely random. Like every year, like so. I think my prediction is the Saints. I think they're elite. I think they'll go like 13-3 good. Like I hate them, but this is their last year.
This is definitely their last year.
The Falcons, I do think they'll be better because it is every other year. But
And they were missing a lot of defensive
yeah,
pieces.
I mean they were hurt a lot last year. I think the worst team. This is my bold prediction. The Panthers will be the worst team.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I
Especially
my
with
hatred
Cam
of-
hurt now.
my hatred of Cam Newton will allow me to agree with this take that I think they're gonna hit their stride.
And
Or
like
hit a bad stride.
another thing with like the Falcons, I definitely feel like the defense, like I already said, Quinn taking over the defensive play calling is going to be a big step up. But like last year, Deion Jones and Keanu Neal both missed like extended time, and those are by far like the
and
two
they got
best.
out like early too.
Mhm.
All right, let's move on. Oh, Will, here, you got
I'm
anything
gonna
to say?
go with the Falcons.
Falcons. All right.
Shout out Atlanta.
Thanks, Will. All right, time for mine and Will's turn. AFC North. All right, Steelers. Just so everyone knows at home, Steelers, Browns, Ravens, Bengals. That will be the order of that division. Steelers are probably going to go 11-5.
If you
Browns,
pick anyone but the Steelers to win that division, I don't know.
yeah, like I'm.
There's
And it's
no
not-
way.
And I don't think the hype on Cleveland is necessarily unwarranted. Like they have a pretty good D line. They have their corners are pretty solid. I don't agree. He probably isn't going to play, but Denzel Ward is a pretty solid choice. Their offensive line is going to be a big factor. They traded away Kevin Zeitler. Kevin, I don't even know his last name.
As somebody who watched him last week, it's bad.
Yeah. And Baker, I still think he'll be solid. I don't think he's going to be elite, but I think he'll be solid. Jarvis Landry and Odell are going to help him out a lot though because they're both
And Njoku.
and who? Oh,
David
Njoku. They have
Yeah.
Antonio Callaway, who I think is just like a solid third receiver. Then Nick Chubb, and if Kareem Hunt plays, that'll be good for them. But I still think Cleveland, with a rookie head coach, just bad history, and still like needing to feel out a team, because we saw the Rams went all in, and even though like they had had higher level players, they still couldn't win it all, and their team obviously didn't mesh together. So Cleveland's also, or not Cleveland, Cincinnati's just done for. Like their team is so
I think
trash.
that's
Cincinnati isn't a
trash.
I think they're getting Tua next year,
Yeah,
or Herbert, whoever it'll be, because I think they're going like 2-14.
yeah.
Is Dalton the problem though? Like
He's not.
He's not, but he's not
it's
the
time to
solution.
move. It's time to move him out.
If you can't be. They had one season, notable season, where you're like, oh yeah, they were good, and he got hurt, and and that was the.
Well, they made the playoffs like 3 years in a row.
And how
They
many
didn't do
how many
anything.
games did they
They
win?
didn't do anything, but
Combined
like
winning
you remember
the
their thing was
0
they were
playoff
always
games.
good in the regular season, but they literally sucked once they got to the
They
end
had
of it.
the worst defense last
Remember
year.
that year they lost to the Chargers, and they were supposed to be like they were like a 1 or 2 seed, and they got beat by like the Chargers, who were the last team in the playoffs at home. That was like in the Dalton era, and they just
And they moved on from Marvin Lewis, but they got Cincinnati's
Zach
head
Taylor
coach. Yeah.
sucks.
So
But I mean, I think with them, all their best players are like 33, like Geno Atkins.
or AJ Green, and they allowed him to get
He's
hurt.
old too. He's like 30 something now.
Yeah,
I mean, they need a complete rebuild.
I would agree. It's time to just tank, get some elite players, and then move on. Hudson, what are your thoughts?
I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh just because they have the experience, but I think Cleveland's gonna be really close. I feel like this whole division is gonna go down to like the last couple weeks. I think even Baltimore has some talent.
Their defense is still.
I think Baltimore
pretty
could be
good.
better in Cleveland.
And then I think this year for Cleveland, I think like they have some legit players, some legit pieces. I think this is gonna be a big learning year. Like I could see them, like they were kind of in the playoff hunt last year. I could see them maybe sneaking into the wild card or maybe like right on the fringe of playoffs. But I think that like year 3, so like next season, is they're really gonna know what they have to add in the off season. That's when I think Cleveland can be like legitimate like playoff Super Bowl contender.
I don't think you can go from being that bad to good in one year. Like I really don't, because they still have like a losing culture. Like Odell hasn't even stepped on the field for him yet, but some of those guys were on teams that went 0-16, and like you can't convince me that when a better half of your team was on that bad of a team, they can go to being division champs in 2 years. Like they've never won. The games they won last year were trash games. Like they beat teams that were bad.
Oh,
So I think Odell helps. I think they are a lot more talented than they were last year, but I don't think they're going to win the division. I think they get lucky if they're a wild card.
I will say one player for to keep a watch on. Myles Garrett is going to pop off this season. He's been like having really good progress. He is going to have like
He'll have
12 to 15 sacks, if not more.
Spencer, do you have any bets or any money on the line?
Oh,
for this
yes.
division?
My roommate Cameron and I, we have been betting, slowly increasing the price on. He thinks the Steelers are going to come in third in the division.
What's the money up to now?
It's up to $50. I wouldn't be surprised if it got to
the Ravens.
He thinks the Browns and Ravens are going to come first and second. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's $100 on this by the time that the next episode of the podcast comes up. Especially when he hears me call him out.
Shout out Cameron.
All right, who's next? AFC West. So that's Raiders, Chargers, Broncos, and Chiefs. I think Chiefs are winning that one again.
Chiefs.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs and the Chargers make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Raiders are improved. I think they'll be 6-10, 7-9. The Broncos, I don't think they're going to be good. Like I think Vic Fangio is a really good defensive coach, but their offense, you cannot tell me Joe Flacco is going to win.
Oh no, he won't.
He's not going to be able to keep up with Mahomes or even Phillip Rivers, or even Derek Carr for that matter.
They don't have really good receivers, like Emmanuel Sanders, but he's just.
They have Cortland Sutton. They have like a bunch of like just guys who haven't done anything.
Their offensive line's kind of whack. They did get Steelers offensive line coach Mike Munchak, who completely changed their line.
Yeah, he's the best in the league.
Yeah. Philip Lindsay. I feel like he'll still have a pretty good year.
I think he's Doug Martin 2.0.
Oh, you do?
He was so good, no one expected it last year. I think he may not rush for like 200 yards like Doug Martin did, but I think he'll have a step back just because teams are going to figure him out. Like he's fast and small, but running back's such a weird position in the NFL. Like it's in every like.
That's why like all these running backs are wanting big
so
money.
Random.
And they're so angry that teams aren't paying them, but it's because
you can get one on the street.
You can get Philip Lindsay, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the Raiders, even though they have Antonio Brown, who I hate now, he's my favorite player, but that's another story for another podcast. I cannot see them just having any sort of a relevant season because they still.
I think they have some pieces for the future, though.
They could develop, but I don't think they're going to get anything this year. And I still don't think Gruden's a good coach.
Oh, I don't either.
Yeah.
But I do think
he might have been before, but he's definitely not now.
Their young guy. He wasn't before.
Oh,
but,
there we go.
They're young guys. I do think they have a really good young like group. But they signed like Richie Incognito. Like they signed all these old guys.
They signed everyone who's going to bully
like
Derek Carr.
Perfect.
They got Perfect Carr.
Like they got all these guys. I don't know why they did. I don't know why they needed to do that. Like
they just built their reputation as getting a bunch of like trashy players.
I just think if they would have gone just on a younger side, they would have a lot more promise right now. But they signed players like that who. Even AB, like they just have too many like personalities going there.
And we saw what happened in Pittsburgh when you had too many personalities. It was.
You still made the playoffs almost every year.
Yeah, I'll take it.
I actually think the Chargers are going to end up winning this division because I'm looking at it right now. They have the easiest. Their schedule's outside of like a top 15 schedule, and the only playoff team they play on the road is in Chicago at Week 8. And I think it's gonna be similar to last year, where it's like between them and KC. I don't think KC is gonna regress. I think this division will. Like same like the NFC or the AFC North, I think it'll go down to like the last week, but just with like a little bit easier of a schedule, and I feel like there'll be less pressure and media coverage on them than there is on Kansas City. I think they'll win the division, but I think both them and Kansas City will both make the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be one of the divisions where there's gonna be two teams coming out of it.
I thought we said that about. Oh no, it was NFC.
Yeah, it was NFC.
I was
All
gonna
right,
say.
where are we going next? AFC East, Patriots. I think that's pretty obvious. All three teams, I think, are still pretty trash aside from the Patriots. Dolphins are probably the worst team in the NFL right now. Sorry, Patrick.
Yeah, I would agree. They do they. I wish I could say they do have young pieces. I don't even know if they do.
So
They have Minka
Fitzpatrick.
Minka is good.
and
Minka's
Xavier
really
Howard
good.
are both legit
Yeah,
secondary
they're good.
players.
But you sent us the link to where Jadeveon Clowney's been talking with Miami, but there's no way they give up a first for him
They
because
shouldn't.
they
'Cause
should.
they're gonna have a top.
Well, it's gonna be
number one.
They could get Tua or Farm or someone, and especially because even if they did, then they wouldn't have a pick in the first 2 rounds because they gave up that pick
Yeah.
for
Well,
Rosen.
since the Patriots are probably a lock to win this division, who do you think finishes in second? The Bills or the Jets?
I think the Bills.
Bills have an actual
No, I take
defense.
take that back.
But
the Jets.
it's-
They added a ton of people
Yeah.
this offseason.
I think the big thing is both the Jets and Bills have a defense with some good, solid players, but the Bills don't really have anyone on offense to help compensate for that. The Jets at least have a couple receivers we actually have heard of. The Bills have Zay Jones, and he's not even good.
And who's the white dude from the
Beasley.
Cowboys?
Yeah,
Cole Beasley.
exactly my point. And then their running back committee is Frank Gore and
LaShawn
LaShawn McCoy, who are both old and out of their prime. And Jets at least have Le'Veon and
Jamison Crowder,
Crowder,
Robbie Anderson, Quincy Enunwa.
and maybe Sam Darnold probably will have a better career than Josh Allen. I don't think either of them are really that good, but he'll probably.
I think the Jets will be better than people think. I obviously don't think they'll make the playoffs, but I think I can see them finishing second in that division, maybe pulling off like an upset here or there. But they've added pieces around Darnold, like we said, with Crowder, Anderson if he can stay out of trouble, and Le'Veon. And that defense is pretty nasty. Jamal Adams, one of the best.
Jamal Adams
Might be the best safety in the NFL.
Did C.J. Mosley? No, he didn't get hurt. He was able to Williams. C.J. Mosley's pretty
Mosley's there.
good. And Leonard and Quinnen Williams.
Quinn Williams, good defensive line. I think they'll be solid.
Mm-hmm. All right, and then the last one, AFC South. Just talking about them, I think actually that the Jags are going to win, and for no other reason other than just their defense and how just wide open that division is now, especially with Andrew Luck.
I feel like this is the only division that all 4 teams have a chance to win.
Yeah,
They
like
always
that's like
do.
every year
This is
almost,
always
too.
the worst division in football. Because the Jags last year were down. The year before that, the Colts were down. It's just every year somebody's down. I actually think the Colts win it. I think they do, even without Luck. I honestly I don't see. I think the Texans step back, way back. I think the Titans.
I think the Titans just stay.
I think if the Titans stay with Mariota, they go back. If they go with Tannehill, they're 7-9, 8-8.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be like where they kind of were last year. Just
And I did hear, I saw on Twitter that they are moving, they're opening to the possibility of Tannehill playing because the receivers want Tannehill now because he actually throws the ball.
Yeah, that sucks.
That's not a good look for Mario.
My bold prediction is the Jaguars finish last. I do agree their defense is good, but
I agree.
I think their offense is just abysmal.
This is
I
more
think
just a
it's
kind of gut
terrible.
feeling I have. If they came
I
in
hope
last,
you're right.
I'd be
I like the Jaguars.
I'll go Jags as well.
I think it's mainly
Josh
just
Allen, rookie of the
They're-
defensive rookie of the year.
they're just have so many stars on that defense that
The thing is, even
their
with,
offense sucks that bad. I completely
even
agree
with
with you there.
Bortles threw it wild. He threw 4 interceptions a game, but he at least threw it deep and gave him a chance. Foles is so boring. He just throws it underneath, and I don't think they're gonna be able to put up points.
Especially because they have coming out of the backfield, Leonard Fournette
Fournette,
might be the
yeah.
least explosive starting running back there is.
Yeah.
He's just as boring as Foles.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna run
Unless
it.
D.D. Westbrook's just a god. I don't
People
see
are
how they're
hyping
gonna.
him up.
I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna make. I don't know how they're gonna score.
I don't know who I'd pick. I mean, I want to say the Texans because I love watching Deshaun Watson. He's so fun to watch play. But their schedule is
Their line is the
their
worst
line's
in
bad.
football.
And this thing I'm looking at, some of the pass rushers will play back-to-back weeks. They'll go Von Miller, Frank Clark, Cam Jordan, Joey Bosa. So
Oh.
That's just like a stretch of
Oh, no.
That's just a stretch of pass rushers. I'm gonna go with Zach and say the Colts are still gonna win the division because I think Jacoby Brissett's
He's serviceable.
he's serviceable. They still have some there's a very talented team, and then the Jags. I don't. The offense just there's nothing exciting about them that I could see them. No, yeah, I'm gonna go with the Colts.
Right. That wraps up the division. Do we have any sponsors, Will?
We do have one new sponsor this week. It is actually the Troops.
Shout out to the troops.
Shout out the Troops.
You know,
Most importantly, Stoops Troops,
You know who you are.
but also the other troops.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you to the troops. All right. So I'm going to kind of back off a little bit of my expertise. But so are there any college takes you all have with college football starting up this weekend or officially starting up?
I think looking at the schedule, the best game this weekend on is probably the Oregon-Auburn game, both in the top 16 in Jerry World. This will be what's the quarterback's name?
Herbert.
Herbert. It'll be on the big stage for him. Kind of everyone. He had a lot of national attention last year, especially coming out talking about him coming in and out of the draft. I think that's probably the best game on this weekend. Houston, Oklahoma should be solid. Dana Holgerson's first game as head coach.
I forgot
Houston.
he went there. That's such a weird move.
Yeah.
I'd like to.
I think Notre Dame will smack Louisville.
I'd like to give a quick prediction. That's pretty obvious that Jerry Jeudy will be a top 5 pick, wide receiver at Alabama.
Best route runner.
He is so nasty.
He's so smooth running routes.
This is a really good receiver class because they have the guy from Oklahoma, Lamb. They have a guy from Clemson. Like there's a lot of good receivers.
Justin Rossi or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And the dude from Miami. Did you see him this weekend? I can't
Oh,
remember his name.
you were telling me about him.
Number 2. He's huge. Let's see if I can find it.
Yeah, I think this year. I don't know. I mean, there's like Georgia Tech, Clemson. Clemson will beat them, but like that's at least like some. What the?
They're not running the triple option.
I know. I take that back. I just looked at the line.
Oh no, Clemson's gonna smack them.
36 and a half.
I thought Georgia Tech was decent.
They got that new coach, and they ran that shotgun play at the spring game for their first play of the year.
Well, I take back what I just said.
I like just like a long term though, like seeing some of the recruiting news about Georgia Tech. They're like killing it on like the transfer thing right now, getting tons of guys like coming back to the Atlanta area that they got recruited out of there. But
who's their new coach?
Jeff Collins. He was the Florida DC.
He was like the
for
Temple
a while.
Coach, wasn't he?
He was a Temple coach, yeah.
Gotcha.
I think it might be interesting for like a quarter, but I don't.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be very
really.
Good game.
Other than that, there's a lot of
Duke,
kind
Alabama.
of mid-majors going up against the Georgia Vanderbilt. That will be fun for like the first few minutes. Northwestern Stanford could be good.
Does Vandy still have that one really good running back, or did he go to the draft?
No, he's still there. He was there at SC Media Day.
Okay.
Oh yeah, they always have running backs. That's the only position they ever have.
Do you have any hot gambling tips? I know. Is the lab opening up?
The lab was not open this week due to
I have
some
one.
scheduling conflicts.
I have one.
It'll be open this coming
Take
weekend.
Oregon. Auburn's a 3.5 point favorite. Take Oregon. They got Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I would hammer
they're
Oregon on that
recruiting.
one.
They have the number 1 player in the country. He's a freshman. They're recruiting like as good as they did with Chip Kelly, but I think Auburn's. You can never trust them.
Take the under on the Georgia Southern LSU game. Georgia Southern's gonna hold the ball a ton. They run the triple option.
Oh shit!
They'll keep that.
Where's this Georgia Southern analysis
I gotta watch
coming
that.
from?
Then I gotta
Both my
watch
parents
the
went there.
triple option.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to give a quick shout out to Rondale Moore for Heisman. I'm campaigning
that
for him
guy.
for Heisman. Went to my high school. Let's go,
He's a
Rondale
bitch.
Moore.
Fuck them kids.
He already got arrested.
He got arrested?
Yeah, he got arrested for
Yeah.
weed.
Oh.
That just happened.
How
It
recent?
was
Yeah,
like
like this
it was
summer.
like 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
Yeah,
worse than that.
It was something like.
Getting arrested for weed, the worst thing you can do.
Well, Rondale Moore, I didn't know that you were a sinner. Hope you enjoy hell.
God.
I haven't bet on college football in so long, so I'm excited to get back out there.
I'm excited. To
Did
get
y'all
back.
watch the Miami-Florida game? The last,
On
5
the
or
radio.
10 minutes of that game was actually so exciting.
It was a good game.
When two teams suck, the last 10 minutes, it was.
Did you see Felipe Franks got up on the camera and he was like
Fucking hate him.
he was trash talking the camera, just like hyping himself up.
Such a
And the
bum.
next play he goes up there and
Sucks
throws a
every
pick.
year.
Dude, no,
He's
that was-
so bad.
I was so excited for – they had him at, 4th and 20, got a sack or whatever. Then he immediately threw an interception.
That was it. Yeah.
Then we got the greatest gif of all time, Steve Spurrier just going, I wouldn't have let that happen, but
Yeah.
and then just
Listening
more
to it
sacks.
on the radio was so funny because it was like 4th and 20, and it's like, oh, and he goes down. Oh, there's a flag on the play.
was like-
There were like 3 PIs, and they picked it up because they're like, we cannot give them another PI.
They weren't even like close to. They were just tackling the guy. It's like
Yeah.
it was Florida was like imploding.
Hope they play
Did
like that
you-
when they play UK.
Did you see UK announce today that the game's already sold out?
Yeah,
Well,
I did.
Yeah. I
Thank
think the
God.
environment's gonna be.
I
Crazy
hope both teams are 2-0. I really do.
Who's
Shout
Florida
out-
play
shout out-
next week and nobody?
Somebody
some
like a
scrub.
cupcake.
I mean,
yeah.
we play Toledo, so.
Toledo's
Although
good.
Toledo can make a bowl game.
They-
They,
good.
we drafted, Steelers drafted.
I'm actually pretty
Deontay
nervous
Johnson.
about
The-
that game.
Their
Starting running
running back was
backs,
a transfer from
yeah.
UK.
I think they're gonna be.
Oh, it is?
I think it'll be closer. I think it'll be pretty close.
I think it's gonna come out sloppy. We came out sloppy last year against Central Michigan.
Is the transfer from UK?
Yeah.
I can't even remember his name. I should.
He
Gunnar,
never-
Gunnar Hoke. Is he
No.
starting
He's
for Ohio
third,
State?
No.
he's third string.
Oh, never mind.
That was
After
all.
that
That was all the
bullshit,
smoke
they named him
screen.
third string.
Tate Martell should come back.
Justin Fields is the best high school quarterback like in a long time.
So is Tate Martell. But look what happened to him.
Yeah.
He lined up as wide receiver for
Yeah,
Miami.
he took a few jet sweeps, a few reverses.
I don't think he actually
didn't get
had
a
any
yard.
stats. Yeah,
He literally got hit behind the line of scrimmage, but he got the
I
ball.
mean, only 3 years ago we lost to
that's a
Southern
football guy
Miss.
move though. He gave his body
Yeah.
on the line.
I don't
Put
know.
a throw on the
I'm
field.
pretty nervous, but I'm not.
And it's a
super
noon
confident.
game. I saw a report though. Stoops was showing film from the Southern Miss game.
I think we'll win, but I
To
do
show
think
that-
I think it'll be. I think we'll come out sloppy, and I think it'll be a tight one, probably till the end, till the fourth quarter.
What's that running back's name?
It's like Kovac or
Cavazier
something.
Smoke.
No,
Oh,
Toledo's.
Oh,
It's like
The
Kovac, I think.
Kovac, yeah, Brian Kovac.
shout out Calvin Joseph, 4th highest rated recruit ever to come to Kentucky. Just announced he was transferring yesterday
From
from
LSU?
LSU. Yeah.
That's
He's
pretty high.
he was in class today.
Sorry if you don't care about UK, but
There's
We
another
do.
LSU DB that's supposedly coming to visit in like the next few days, and he could transfer too. So new DBU,
transfer you.
transfer you. Yeah.
Once the
I'll
lab
take it.
opens back up, I'll be more on the gambling.
I'd
Up to speed.
also gamble that Iowa has another elite level tight end just because.
Their quarterback's being talked about as be picked in the first 3 rounds.
Wait,
Yeah, what's
really?
his name? I
Yeah,
did
he
see
wears
that.
number 4. I can
It's just
visualize him. I
weird.
don't know
'Cause
his
usually
name.
Iowa is one of those teams that
Who
has
was
like
their tight end last
terrible
year?
quarterback.
Tight end last year, Noah Fant and T.J. Hawkinson. T.J. Hawkinson
That
went.
really tall ass kid.
Yes, he with the bowl cut. He went 8th overall to the Lions, and Fant went 20. He took the Steelers spot when they traded up for Devin
Yeah.
Bush. Yeah, and then they had George Kittle the year before that. So tight end you.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that wraps up this episode of the Pump is Full podcast. Is there anything else we got, boys, or is that it?
No.
All right,
I
that's
think
what I love to
that's
hear. All right, so thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you all can hear us better this time, and I don't think I forgot anything. So we'll see how that goes. Thanks for tuning in.